Oh my goodness me, Manchester United 2, Brentford 1. Late drama, late magic, late MCTOMINAY magic has turned it around and won it for Manchester United at Old Trafford today. And does it paper over the cracks? Yes. Do we entirely deserve it? No, certainly not. Was it an amazing performance? No. Will we take it? Absolutely. It is massively needed. I mean, from the jaws of defeat and despair, somehow, some way, Manchester United have turned it around. I mean, I wasn't expecting a late goal, let alone a late winner from Scott McTominay, but he deserves a huge amount of credit. As does the manager, Eric Ten Hag, in terms of making the substitution, bring them on. I mean, I think you can go maybe a bit too far when it comes to, credit for Eric Ten Hag today, because it was the same old story for the majority of the game, the same old senior players, the same old big players letting us down today, whether it be Andre Onana, whether it be Casemiro, whether it be Bruno Fernandes, whether it be Marcus Rashford. That same quartet, once again, really was nowhere to be seen apart from the really bad moments in which they were a part of. I mean, it was the same old story, for, like I said, for the majority of the game. We start okay, 20 minutes, fine, wasn't our most sort of electric 20 that we've had this season, but a fine 20 minutes. And you say, I think United are in fairly good position at the moment. We look to be doing okay. We're all right. We're controlling the game, not a ton of chances, but fine. Then Casemiro gives the ball away needlessly in midfield. A counter-attack opportunity is there for Brentford. We don't deal with it. They have a shot that has no business, absolutely zero business getting in the net. And once again, you're asking massive questions of Andre Onana in the Manchester United goal. And then, to be honest, for the majority of the second half, did we create a lot? Not for big portions, really. Not for massive portions of that second half. It's only really once he maybe made those later changes that we started to look a bit more dangerous in Manchester United. Casemiro got hooked at halftime for Christian Eriksen. Again, right decision. Casemiro was awful, terrible. Then around 60 minutes, you had Anthony come on for Mason Mount, which I'm not really sure made massive amounts of difference, that substitution in particular. But Alejandro Garnacho came on for Marcus Rashford. And I was wondering what the commentary was watching, because they were like, oh, get ready. Old Trafford's going to really boo when Rashford comes off. Oh, they're going to go crazy. And they didn't. they applauded, because he was having the same game that he's had for the last however many weeks, which is errors, sloppiness, not really looking that affected, not really looking that interested as well. The work rate was there. Garnacho comes on. What does he do? Influence the game. He looks lively. He's trying to go past players. He's trying to make things happen. He's being dynamic. He's being attacking. He's giving the Brentford players problems. As I mentioned, eventually McTominay comes on as well. And McTominay equalizes. And to be honest, it was a strange feeling when we equalized, because obviously you want your team not to lose, but we equalized and you kind of went, this paper's over a bit of cracks here. Like, it's still not a good, it's drawing at home against Brentford still isn't a good result. It's not. And then for United literally just to turn around and get another goal, that's fantastic. I mean, I've just seen a tweet there saying, I think it's the first time. Let me just see this from Ben Jacobs, because this is stat true. If that is true, this is an unbelievable stat. If indeed that is accurate. Let's have a look at this. Ben Jacobs tweeted, suggesting that it's like one of the first times. Here we go. First ever time Manchester United have trailed in stoppage time in the Premier League and gone on to win. So there you go, 93rd minute and 97th minute winner. And some people, I've already seen in my WhatsApp groups, comparing it to almost a Mark Robbins moment for Eric Ten Hag, saying that, that's given him much needed breathing room heading into the international break. Losing 4 on a spin at home would have been catastrophic for him. I don't think he'd have lost his job had we lost today, but there'd have been big questions, more so questions being asked. So United get a much needed win. Does it paper over the cracks? Somewhat, but we're a team bang out of form at the moment, and you'll take any victory you can get. And like I said, we'll take it. Absolutely, we'll take it. No doubt about that. Let's see what the Super Chats are saying here. Scar says, poetic. McTominay got the win in Fergie time as a tribute to Kathy, RIP. Indeed, is, a Scottish player, a Scottish homegrown Manchester United player that's come through the academy, getting a win late on. I mean, it is somewhat poetic, isn't it? Certainly. And thoughts and prayers and condolences go out to the Ferguson family at this trying time as well. Red Baron says, the defense didn't help Onana build confidence, to be honest. I don't know, Red Baron. I don't think you can look at that goal. It's a cavalcade of errors, yes, but Onana's well and truly in that category for that goal. He has to do better. Credit to him. Later on in the game, made a couple of better saves. Thought one of them was a bit dramatic, but a couple of them tipping him over the bar. He did well there, but you can't look at that goal and go, oh, there were errors leading into it. Goalkeepers, fundamentals, use these. Keep the ball out the net. Using whatever, but most importantly, using these and. He didn't do that, but again, he got better. But man, this is a Brentford side that's not great either as well. They're bang out of form too. So, but it's needed. No doubt it's needed. Let's get to the call straight away then. Let's go to Aminor first. Aminor, we got there in the end. I thought I was going to be having a very different conversation about 15, 20 minutes ago. But what did you make of that?
Hi, Owen. It was a terrible game. I actually while I was watching, I'll go into a bit more detail. I was like switching off. I just couldn't. I was resigned to the fact that we were going to lose, and it felt like the same feeling I had when we were playing against Crystal Palace. They score first, the low block, senior players not stepping up, but then out of nowhere, we scored 2 late winners. So if I just start with the positives, I mean, for me, I know Scott McTominay scored 2 goals, fantastic game on, man of the match, but actually, I want to say something it might be a little bit controversial here, but I don't think it is. I want to tip my hat to Maguire. I actually thought Maguire played reasonably well. I know it wasn't like a standout performance, but I just want to say, well done. He gets a lot of criticism, and I'm one of his critics, and I think he should leave the club eventually. But give him respect, so he played well. And Scott McTominay did what he had to do with coming on the sub. That showed mentality. But for me, I'm more relieved because I'm more happy for Ten Hag because I was thinking if we lost that game and we went to the international break, Owen, I don't think the amount of scrutiny he would be under and the amount of clicks every day whilst we're not playing Premier League football by media outlets like TalkSport, Gabion Locor about Eric Ten Hag, it would have been horrendous.
They'll still do it tonight.
They will, but it just can you imagine? You know what it's like, Owen, in the media. Man United is the club to sort of disrespect. So that was my first observation. I mean, what do you think of that, Owen? What's your thoughts?
No, I agree. I think it was funny because when that team news came out, you looked at that back four, and that was your primary focus, really, wasn't it? Going for that back four, Maguire, Johnny Evans, Lindelof, Dalot. And in reality, that they weren't our biggest problems today. Once again, it was midfield, it was Bruno, it was Rashford, obviously Onana as well. Yeah. But it's the same story because we're having these same conversations every week, aren't we? Casemiro again, really poor. I mean, he deserved to get taken off at halftime. He was so bad. So I agree with you. I thought actually defensively, you look at those players and you go, considering their qualities and capabilities, they did all right. But it was just the rest of the team that really let us down.
And if I there's 2-3 players I just want to pick out. So fantastic win. We needed the win, and that's a positive. But in terms of analysing key points in the game, let's start off with Casemiro. He's such an experienced player to be making errors like that. It reminded me of McTominay. In McTominay's midfield, he couldn't make a pass. That's the way he was playing in the first half. So I'm glad he got taken up, but he needs to look at himself. But the big one for me is Onana. I've said many times. Not many times, I've said it a couple of times, and I'm sort of agreeing with what Flex is saying now on KG. I'm worried about Onana. I know he made some good saves in the second half, tipped them over, but fundamentally, that goal, I saw it second. It went underneath his hand. It didn't. If it went to the corner, that's fair enough. But it just, I don't know what. I don't know when. I mean, I'm just like, am I being overcritical on Onana, or is it a confidence issue?
I don't think so. No, I don't think so. I don't think you're being overcritical at all. I think that that goal, it's in the middle of the goal. It's not like you said, it's not in corners. If anything, I found it a bit odd because I almost looked at it and went, I'm not even sure you needed to dive for that, mate. It was right slap bang in the middle of the goal. And once again, Aminor, what it does is it puts pressure on us when we didn't need it. Like for instance, when we played Bayern Munich away from home, it started pretty well, but then you make a mistake and then suddenly you're on the back foot. And it's been like that a couple of times recently with him where you go, and even in the week when we played Galatasaray, that's 2-2, gives away that pass, leads to the penalty, and you go, you've put us on the back foot again. And that's immediately what it did with him. And for a person that was saying earlier on in the season, he was doing that whole calm, he's not adding calm. He's adding nervousness to that back four.
Yeah, he doesn't feel the So the way I think about it, the defense is like a makeshift defense. You got like Johnny Evans and Maguire as your centre backs. Lindelof playing left, Dallo right. They must be feeling really nervous with Onana behind them because not only is his shot stopping is like way below what I expect. He was brought in to play like distribution type football, but because we're not a team that's distribution type football, possession, attacking, transition, we're more defensive. We're relying on his other skill set, which is his shot stopping, and that's been exposed and highlighted more than what I expected it to be. So we're not using his best attributes. We're relying on his worst attributes, and we're just getting the worst out of him. But but there's a part of me that thinks, is the fan base trying to scapegoat him? We always want to try to find a scapegoat. It used to be Maguire. It still is Maguire, but is it now Onana the scapegoat? I don't know. So I don't want to. Yeah, I'm not convinced by Onana, but it wouldn't surprise me that he turns around in the second half of the season. But yeah, that's the thing I'd say. But can I just say two more points? I mean, Rashford, sure. Yeah, he needs to be dropped. I mean,
yeah,
he's trying. You can see he's trying. He's not being greedy, but he's just not. He doesn't feel like he's there. He's mentally. I don't know whether we can have an out of body experience. I think he's having that on the pitch. He's there physically, but I think his mind's not there. And he's not. His confidence is not there at all. And when Garnacho came on, I thought he made the difference. But the last one, before I go in, I mean, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to call him out. My captain, Bruno, he goes missing again. When we're 1-0 down, I'd expect my captain to sort of set the standard, drive forward, do the basics right, demand standards from each other. He just disappears. He's missing in action. And this is not the first time he's done this. He's done this a couple of times now. So, yeah, that's what I want to say, Owen, Bob. Thank you.
No problem, Amino. And I agree. Like I said before, it's the same. It might sound repetitive, but it's the same players we're constantly talking about. And I don't think it's massively agenda driven at this point. I think it is just, Flex says it, call it out. I mean, it is literally, Onana, Rashford, Bruno, Casemiro, and they're big players you expect a lot from every single week, and it seems like it's them same players that aren't performing, and it's unfortunate. But as you mentioned, I think today the biggest win is for Ten Hag. That's the biggest win is for Ten Hag, and I absolutely agree. Big up Amanov for calling in. Excellent call as always. I think we're caught up with the super chats. If you haven't already, click the like button. Over 700 people watching, just over under 100 likes. If you haven't already, click that like button. Let's get the likes up early. Let's go to Show Ramen Show. I mean, it's a strange one to have analysis today, isn't it? Because it's somewhat euphoric. You always, when you score a late winner, you're happy you've won the match, but you can't overlook what was for the majority of the game quite poor once again. So where do you sit on all of this?
I mean, look, first of all, it's massive for Ten Hag to go into the international break on the back of a win, because I was just watching that game thinking, just pretty much straight away after Brentford scored that we're not going to score. We're not going to score, because like we didn't look like scoring. I mean, we created a few half chances here and there, but I was already getting ready for the headlines. I can't lie. 3 home defeats in a week, getting ready for the 14 days bombardment of United. I was getting ready for. I was like, oh my god, this is going to get bad. So most of all, I'm happy for Ten Hag, because he really needed some respite. And I'm hoping going into this international break, maybe a few players come back. Hopefully, a few players' confidence, that result does them good, can start to go on a bit of a run. I mean, the thing is, our so-called nice fixtures are kind of done. Although I believe we got Sheffield United after the break.
This was meant to be it, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So, but that's the only thing I can hope. But obviously, it does paper over some huge. It's not small cracks. We're looking at some huge cracks now. I mean, number one, for me, I think Casemiro's having his Fabinho season from last season for Liverpool. I think he's cooked. I really do think. And at what point do we keep saying, because at the beginning of the season there was these reports that he starts off the season like this. He used to do this at Real Madrid, and he comes good. He's getting worse. He's not getting better. And today, the fact that we're 1-0 down at home to Brentford and you're taking off Casemiro at half-time, I think it sends a big message. I really do think it does. And I just think Real Madrid selling him to us. I think they knew that, he's got a bit more left in him, but then he's done. And I honestly think he's done. And I think we can't start him. I just think we can't start him anymore, full stop. That's what
It's interesting you bring that up because if you've been watching a few of the tactical views recently, Cam's been saying something similar, suggesting that actually his stats are way down from last season. I think we were chatting the other day, weren't we, saying that his dual succession is down to like 50% or even less so than that already this season. And that mistake that we saw leading up to the first goal, well, not only did we see that a couple of times in this game anyway, but we've seen it in other games as well, you know, when he's trying to sort of spray it around and it's just sloppy and it leads to something. And then, as you mentioned, because the legs maybe aren't there, he can't keep up. And I think you're right. I mean, it's whenever you take anyone off at half time, let alone someone with the stature of a Casemiro, that's a statement by Erik ten Hag, is it not?
Yeah, no, it's a big statement. It's a big statement. And I think obviously Rashford's coming off earlier and earlier, which is not good for him also. I do feel like Bruno would have come off if there was a player to kind of bring on for him. But let's be honest, I mean, we could say bring on Pellistri or whatever, but these players haven't really made a difference as they come on anyway. The funny thing is, actually looking at the defense, I didn't think it would be as much of a problem today given who the opposition was. Because if you think about Brentford, they like to put crosses in the box. They're quite physical up front. Considering we actually had 3 centre-backs in the back four today that are quite good aerially, it wasn't actually that much of it. So weirdly enough, the defence, even though the defence looked shambolic on paper, when we first looked at it, we were like, oh my God, what is this? Wasn't a problem at all today. I mean, apart from this goal Brentford scored, created nothing. They created absolutely nothing. But it's the same issues again in midfield and attack. I just feel the balance is just... I still feel I don't see how Ten Hag is going to get Mount and Bruno to play together. I don't see it. I just don't think it's going to work. I just think both players are they're the same. I just think they're the same player. And I just think, I don't know. I mean, today you put Bruno out on the right, didn't work. I mean, when does it ever work when you put Bruno out on the right, to be honest? I'm surprised he started off that way. I'm guessing after international break, Anthony comes straight back in, which means, what, do you drop one of Bruno, man? Or do you play Amrabat so 6 and then play Bruno, man? I don't think that's a good idea either. It's not like Amrabat was that great again today either. And I feel...
Very static. Look very static.
And it's not fair on Amrabat, who's just come into the club, and then first 3 games he's got to do a donkey shift at left back, and then it's like, oh, go and be in midfield on your own now. Good luck. This is what you waited all summer for. Like, it's so unfair on the guy, you know what I mean? So I still think there's real big issues for Ten Hag to sort out. But at least the result gives him some respite. Obviously, I've not touched on Onana yet. I don't really know what to say about Onana, to be honest, because it's... I mean, look, I don't think he's as bad a goalkeeper as what he's showing. Because at the moment, he's letting in a goal pretty much every game. That is his fault. I mean, if he was that bad, surely we wouldn't have not signed him. I'd like to think that, but I mean, I know our track record.
Half time, they showed the stats and they showed, oh, you know, United had most possession, blah, blah, blah. And they showed Brentford's stats and it was literally one shot on target. And you went, yeah, because that's what it's like at the moment, though, isn't it? It's just one shot on target. That's all it takes. I mean, he did make some good saves in the second half, but as you mentioned, it feels like whenever the opposition has an attack now, you don't know what the outcome is going to be. There isn't this sort of self-assuredness of, well, I have no idea. It could go in. Take a shot because it might go in. I mean, what do you think? What do you think with Rashford? Because this is what's really interesting is in the press conference, you know, Erik ten Hag really firmly backed him, saying, no, it will come good, it will come good, it will come, and then he'll be on fire. But as you pointed out, he's taken him off earlier and earlier and earlier. And if you listen to the people at Old Trafford, when he's getting taken off now, they're happy to see Garnacho come on instead of him. So you've kind of got him saying one thing in the press conference, but actually doing another in terms of the selection. Do you think it's got to the point now where you have to take him out the side after the international break and just say, look, it's not working out. You've got to get yourself back in, or does he keep trying to play through? Do you think?
But I think he's tried that, hasn't he? So I think the last 3 or 4 games he's tried to play him through, but I think he's seen that keep playing him through is not working. Hence is why he's taking him off earlier and earlier. And at what point? Today was 60th minute. His next game going to be 45th minute. His next game going to be 30th. There's a limit. You know what I mean? So at that point, unless, you know, he's in the England squad, does he do one of them things where he just kind of pulls out? I don't know how serious these England games are. Me personally, I'll just fake an injury and pull out anyway. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't because this is the harsh truth with our squad at the moment. In that, as much as Rashford is playing really badly, on paper he's still our best forward. That's the harsh truth at United. We don't have that depth of player that we think that we have. And I don't like playing players when they're badly in form, but I do get why Ten Hag keeps playing them, because ultimately, even when Rashford's playing crap, he can still give you something. Whereas, you know, people saying start Garnacho, but I remember at the beginning of the season, people having conversations about Garnacho saying, "Oh, he ain't ready to start. Look, he started the first 3 games. He can't start games because when he starts games, he doesn't do anything." So what do we then put in Garnacho, who remind me of what he's 19, right? So once again, it's another youngster that we're just throwing in, not out of bedding him in slowly. It's like a kind of emergency thing. Senior player not doing well, throw in the youngster. Let's hope the youngster saves us. And it's like, I don't know. Me personally, I don't think Garnacho is ready to start games. Hence why he had the impact he had today. Playing against a tired team, you can come on and make an impact, which is what Garnacho always does when he comes on. He doesn't make that impact when he starts because I just don't think he has that intelligence of thought yet. Understandably, because he's a young player. So it's a tough position for Ten Hag to be in, because you can't blame the manager when the senior players are not performing. That's my opinion, anyway.
Yeah, I agree because that's his extension of him on the pitch, and they're not doing that for him, and it's not even like they're not playing that well. They're not performing at all. they're not doing anything. And
exactly.
Yeah, it's really, really tough. Big up, Joe Rahman, for calling in. Excellent call, as always. Let's go to a super chat here from Red Baron. Says, can we not pile on Onana, though, as fans? I don't think it's piling on. I think, you're within your right to say there's a problem with his goalkeeping at the moment, and with these goals that are being conceded are avoidable. Yes, there's things that precede them, but goalkeeper fundamentally, you're meant to be saving the shot, saving the ball, and it's meant not to be going in the back of the net. And it feels like that's kind of been a bit lost, shall we say? Let's go to another call. Let's go to Lucas Chan. Lucas, all the way in Canada.
Just want to wish a quick happy Thanksgiving from Canada. This is
is it Canadian Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Happy Thanksgiving to you.
Thank you. Thank God for a win. Yes.
I know, what a Thanksgiving treat. Yes, a Thanksgiving
love
treat.
about football.
Yeah, what did you make of the game?
Obviously, everybody's going to say the same thing. Very, very boring, very Crystal Palace-like last couple games, and then just thank God for the winners. But I think that it's just good to just go on into the international break with that good feeling, just like we did against Fulham last year, just before the World Cup. Garnacho with that last minute goal against Fulham, and then we went into the World Cup with all that buzz, and then we had the Piers Morgan interview. So let's say Jane Sancho's going to come out with an interview now.
Oh, can you imagine? Oh, I hadn't even thought of that as well. I tell you what, it's a long 2 weeks too. Anything's possible, certainly. How big do you think that is, though, for Ten Hag today? Because look, if we'd have lost, that'd have been 4 home defeats in a row, something like that. As we mentioned, a long 2 weeks full of media speculation. Do you think that could be a bit of a turning point for him this season? Do you think?
I think Old Trafford needed that. Old Trafford just needed that lift, just that good feeling vibe again, and you could just hear the stadium was rocking after it. We can say it's Brentford, but it's still a last minute winner, and we need those. You need those sometimes in the season just to kind of really kickstart it. And I hate using that phrase, kickstarting the season, but we really need to use this to kickstart the season. And I'm just so relieved. Like, good vibes, John. He's going to be so happy with that Scott McTominay.
I know. Yeah.
I'm more mellow. I'm more chill.
Thank God. I mean, it broke my heart when I saw the fan view against Galatasaray when he was like, "There's no good vibes here anymore." I was like, we broke John. How have we broken John at this point? I couldn't believe it. But his fan view will be coming up, so check that out later, guys. What do you think is next for McTominay? I mean, if you come on and you score 2 late winners, do you think he has to start the next game, or is he on the bench? What do you think he does with McTominay?
Honestly, I don't think he'll start next game. He's only on for 10 minutes. He came on in the 85th minute, so
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So to be honest, that's why I see Scott McTominay's role this season. He's either going to be shore up defense, or he's going to be hopefully thrown in there to get a last minute equalizer with the high even the commentator said it. Oh, they're using McTominay's extra height just to try to get in there and everything. He is physical, so that is good. So I still think we'll see him kind of used on the odd few games here and there, but generally, I just think he's still going to be a squad player. He's not going to be a starter. I thought Mount was actually fine. I was actually surprised Bruno stayed on instead of Mount. I thought Bruno was very quiet again today, which is really worrying for our captain. Like, our captain is just really quiet right now. He's it's almost like he's getting swallowed up by now. He was last year he was fighting so hard to be the captain, and this season you just haven't really seen that old Bruno.
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, and it's like that for, we were speaking just before with Show Ramen there. It's a bit like that with a lot of the senior players, isn't it? With, Bruno, Casemiro, Rashford. And what do you think Eric Ten Hag does with those players individually? I mean, he took both Casemiro and Rashford off today. Do you think he takes them out the side? I mean, it's a bit different with Bruno because he's a captain, but what do you think Ten Hag does with those senior players?
For Rashford, I actually thought it was perfect. He played the perfect amount of time today. I thought he played well. He took on the man. He beat his man, I think, he had 4 successful dribbles. Every time it looked like he did the cutback, just bounced around and unlucky, didn't find the right person. So I thought Rashford played pretty well today, just a little bit unlucky, but I thought that was the perfect time to take him off because then his head starts to go. I find in the 70th minute, that's when he really starts throwing his hands up in the air. He doesn't track back. And I thought Garnacho got at least a good run in, not 10 minutes, not 10, 15 minutes. He actually got a good half an hour to go at the opposition, which was really good. So I still trust Ten Hag, but obviously there are questions still into his tactics and everything. But obviously, this is still a great win. Just got it. We got to be thankful for the
Exactly. There's lots of things to be thankful for in Canada this weekend, and 3 points for Manchester United at Old Trafford is absolutely one of them. Absolutely. Big up, Lucas, for calling in, and have a great Thanksgiving to everyone. I'm sure there's plenty of Canadian viewers at the moment. Happy Thanksgiving to you too. I think I've got with super chats. If you haven't already, click the like button as well. We've got nearly 700 people watching, 162 likes. If we can get to 200, 250, maybe even 300, you never know. Let's go to Charles. Charles, whew. I mean, we've had so many conversations, haven't we, recently about Rashford, about Bruno. Same old story, really, for them, but a different story for United because we won a game, Charles. What did you make of it?
Bro, we're thieves. Simple as we are thieves.
Highway robbery.
Like, this isn't even highway robbery. This is just like point blank. We are thieves. Like, we didn't deserve nothing, but, take the 3 points. It's better than 0. That's all, really. And props to Mr. Pace and Power, Passion and Desire, make sauce. That guy?
Yeah.
I don't know. People are saying ETH, you get some credit for the sub. No, I'm not giving that guy nothing. Like, the credit in the bank he had, bro, man is owing me at this point. I'm not seeing anything that I like. Last week,
robbery.
If Rashford was going to
no.
Bro, mad debt. Like, there's nothing there. Why? Last week, I told you Rashford and Bruno were still going to start. There was no reason why. Like, right now, you can't tell me one thing Rashford is better at Garnacho at. Like, I'm not seeing the difference. If anything, Garnacho has some qualities now that Rashford doesn't have. Number one being positional sense. Like, throughout the game, as soon as Garnacho came on, for some reason, like, there was always space on the left-hand side for somebody to pick up the ball and keep the attack going. When Rashford was here, the ball goes to the left and it dies. It's just dead. Like, this manager has blood on his hands at this point. And I'm not really sure that this international break would do us any good because like half of the squad is going off to their separate countries. Like, what's that gonna do for us? Then our first game when we come back from international break is now Manchester City, bro.
We've got Sheffield United.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Imagine losing to Sheffield also. That's not even good. Like,
I don't
bro,
know if we're going to lose straight when we come
I,
back. We've got Sheffield United away, Copenhagen at home, and then we've got City at home.
bro, imagine lose and I can't lose to Sheffield now. Bro,
Who's to say that we will? Why can today not be a spark, Charles? Do you not believe that
what
this could
kind
be
of
a turning point?
there is no spark. Somebody pissed on the spark. Like, this is just like is it Crystal Palace or what game that we won 1-0, and we're like, well, we will take the win. This can start
Burnley.
something. What happened in our next game?
We won 3-0 against Crystal Palace at Carabao Cup, Old Trafford.
Nah, I'm talking about Premier League game.
Well, you asked what the next game was. You asked what the next game was, Charles. You should have been more specific.
I wasn't clear, but our next Premier League game was a loss.
Yeah, we lost. Yes, indeed, we did.
Like, literally, I'm not taking anything from this. Like, until we go on a run of like 3-4 games, just winning and winning comfortably, not some rubbish. Like, I don't even know, 1-0 scamming. I want us to win comfortably. I know that we're building something. 3-4 games on the spin, we have to win. And the problem is, we are running out of like our winnable games. Like, we've gone through how many of them, and it's just else. Like, bro, this is painful, fam.
Look, I mean, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because at the same time, as I mentioned, you when you score 2 late goals in post 90 minutes and you win the game, it is euphoric and you feel great, and you hope that maybe it's a spark. But I do agree with you in the sense of, as we were saying earlier on, it's not only just papering over the cracks. There are very, very, very big cracks at Manchester United at the moment. But when it comes to people like, say, Rashford, he is taking him off progressively earlier. He took Casemiro off at half time. Do you think for the next game, he altogether says, right, I'm not going to start those two? I mean, he's probably going to start Bruno. He's probably going to start Onana. But do you see him making some of those bigger decisions for those bigger players that consistently are not performing?
Bro, our next game, we're probably going to see the same team. Maybe like, for some reason he has no problem benching Casemiro, so we'll most likely see Anthony come in, and then it will be Amrabat, Bruno, and Mount in the midfield. Rashford would definitely be his left side. I don't know why, but he's going to play. And then you have Højlund. Onana, that guy. You guys told me this brother would be the truth. You told me he would solve our, like, people went as far as saying that he would even help the attack. Why is brother slapping the ball and it's going under his hand? What is this? And this was supposed to be Mr. Accountability and whatnot. Pressure doesn't get to him. Why is he slapping? The ball wasn't even moving quick. Why is he slapping it? And why, for God's sake, is he going under his hand? What is this? What is this? Everybody was talking about Champions League nights. What is this?
I don't have any good answers for you, Charles. I don't have any good answers when it comes to Andre Onana.
He can't just, bro.
I don't know. And to the point, like you make, some people were suggesting, look, we will concede maybe goals, but there will be there'll be a positive in terms of in terms of the way we build up. But I don't think we really. I mean, there was a chance in the first half, wasn't there, where he kicked the ball up the pitch, but it was really a long ball that led to a chance that was blocked. I think it was Mount's shot that was blocked. But apart from that, it's worrying. It's worrying. And he was, you noticed that when McTominay got his goal, who was sprinting up the pitch to celebrate with him? Onana, because he knows. He absolutely knows.
That guy, he was probably Scott McTominay's biggest fan when the second goal went in. Because, bro, what is he even doing? Like, even the kicking in the first half, some of it was mad. There were times that he was just kicking it to the bloody Brentford goalkeeper. Like, this is, man. Somebody, what's that our other keeper's name? Like, let's just play him. because
Binder.
yeah. I don't even know how to pronounce that one, sir. But yeah, that guy. Like,
Yes,
let's
Binder.
just start him. Like, he can't do any worse than what we are seeing. At the very least, he cannot do any worse. Cause, bro, like, people are just shooting for fun right now. Like, I was seeing, like, in the first half, Brentford were just trying it. Why? And every time he makes a save, I don't know. He how tall is he?
I don't know. It's a good question, Charles. I'm not sure
Because
how
it
to
looks
wander
like
around there.
he's always, like, I don't know, too short to reach it, or something. Like, I don't know what's up with him. He's just not, there is zero confidence. Like, bro,
He's
this guy
6'3".
is selling games. What?
He's 6'3".
That is crazy. He has to be the shortest looking 6'3" person I've ever met. Sorry, I've ever seen. Like, I don't even understand.
But Charles, before we wrap it up, so you're saying that there's no spark from this? It's still the same.
Nah, the spark will come after 3 or 4 games just winning. For now, it's just a robbery. Like, that's just what it is. We're just thieves.
Just there you go, Charles. I was trying to end on something like, okay, cool. We're thieves. We're thieves. We've stolen the 3 points. It is smash and grab setting, certainly. But there you go. I think I've got a super chat here that I haven't got to, a couple maybe. Here we go. Wayne's List says, it's genius. Remember Galatasaray scored within 5 minutes each time we scored it in the week. So simply score all your goals in injury time. Genius. Basically, you don't give them enough time to score another goal. It's very true, Wayne's List. Very true. Lucas Channel, so has been a member for 15 months, says, I forgot to shout out back to Maguire and Evans played really well. Yeah, a lot of people have been saying that, actually, throughout the show. They've been saying that. Before the game, when the team news came out, the sort of reaction was, oh my God, look at that defense. But actually, that wasn't the problem, was it? That wasn't the problem. It was other aspects of the team, wasn't it? It was midfield. It was the attacking players, certainly. Let's go to Sean. Sean, what are your thoughts on the game? Smash and grab settings, 3 points, though, avoiding defeats. How are you feeling after that one?
You know what, Owen? I'm actually feeling a bit confident today. And I know your previous caller was, wow, that was a difficult listen, to be honest. But having said that, I think, look, there are massive problems even now at the club. But I will take a win as it comes. It's 3 points against a really difficult team to play against. I mean, they really defend very well. So I can understand when Thomas Frank was really annoyed with that result. But having said that, we had 21 shots, 8 on target, more than 500 passes. Yes, we weren't up to the races. But I think with the international break, there's more time for Ten Hag to correct some of the wrongs. And hopefully we approach it again. Look, I'm trying to be positive because I feel like we United fans are always stuck in this negative, toxic cycle all the damn time. And I just feel like if we as fans give up, then what is the point? I mean, we just had 2 Fergie time goals. So I want to bring in some sort of positivity because I think there were signs. Look, we're not the finished article, nowhere close. There are a lot of things to do. Having said that, today I saw patterns. Even though they were minimal, I saw certain stuff, proper shape for most parts of the game. I thought the backline was good, especially Maguire and Evans. And there were good performances, but I still think one of the big problems in this team are the big players, the quote-unquote big players, were still not turning up. And something needs to be done about that.
No, absolutely. It's those, like I said before, it's those key. It's your Onana, it's your Casemiro, it's your Bruno, it's your Rashford. Every single time, it feels like they're the key sort of offenders, shall we say. How do you think Ten Hag does rectify that? I mean, he took 2 of them off. Do you think it's a case of taking those 2 out of the side, taking them all out of the side? How do you think he rectifies it?
I think with Casemiro, look, I don't want to jump on the negativity train with him, but I think he's not been helped at all by the fact that Ten Hag wants to play 2 10s in front of him. Look, we have to understand something about Casemiro. He's an incredible defensive player. We've already seen that with Madrid. But if you want him to be the conductor of your midfield, that's not really his skill set. Because if you remember at Madrid, he had Modric and Kroos in front of him, two players brilliant on the ball. I'm sorry to say, them both were much better on the ball than Mount and Bruno. And they had much more defensive awareness to form a triangle alongside Casemiro. For many situations in the game, I could see Casemiro just isolated up there, with Mount and Bruno just bombing forward. That's okay, but Casemiro is not a Rodri sort of player. He's not a Busquets sort of player. So I think that, I don't think dropping him is the answer, by the way. I know he was not good today, but he's still class. So I would say possibly play Amrabat next game. I know it's Sheffield away and then, for example, Copenhagen. But I think that the midfield needs to understand the midfielders need to understand their roles very, very carefully. There needs to be set roles for everyone. We can't have Casemiro bombing forward as a box-to-box and helping out. If that is the case, then Amrabat should stay back at all times as an anchor man. If Casemiro wants to stay as an anchor man, we need to deploy Mount as sort of like a Carrilero, an in-between player, like a more energetic Eriksen, as I thought that was the point of bringing him in. And then Bruno needs to play as an advanced state. We need to have some sort of structure in the midfield. Blaming Casemiro is great. I don't think he's having a great couple of games. But if we blame everything squarely on him, that's not right. Victimization should not be done at this moment in time. His skill set is not like a Rodri. We can't play that Pep-ish formation with him with 2 10s in front. Mount needs to share game time. I thought he was very good on the right today. When he came to the right, Bruno came to the middle, we could see the difference. So I think Ten Hag needs to learn from that. There has to be assigned roles for players, and they need to know 100% top to bottom exactly what they're going to do in various situations. Because if that doesn't happen, then we will have smash and grabs like these. And away from home, these smash and grabs might not just happen.
What do you think he does with McTominay? I mentioned this earlier on because it's not only as if, look, he's come on and got the equaliser. He's come on and scored 2 goals in the dying moments of the game. Does that warrant a start for him, or does Ten Hag sort of go, look, that's going to be your role this season. You're impacting the games off the bench. We needed a bit of height. We needed to be a bit more direct. You've scored goals for Scotland recently, so we know you're in somewhat decent goal scoring form. What do you think he does with McTominay after winning the game almost single-handedly?
Look, I mean, I'm not going to get revisionism to change my mind. I've been banging on about the fact that McTominay needs to be sold. He's not Man United standard. But having said that, he's a bit of a battering ram. You know what I mean? Like, as an advanced state, he will bulldoze his way past players. He will get the odd shot in a way because he used to be a striker back in the day. I would use him as an impact player. I would not even bring him on at the end of the hour. I'd bring him on, say, after 75, 76 minutes when you can see that the opponent's midfield is tiring. And then when McTominay can run at them, which he is actually good at, but he doesn't need to hide away from the ball, then McTominay can make an impact. However, in an ideal setting, we can make him do that for the rest of the season. But ideally, he would need to go. I'm very happy for the win, of course, first 2 goals. I mean, how fitting is that after what Sir Alex went through very recently, that Fergie fledgling does win it for us in Fergie time. So that the romanticism is obviously there. But if we take that away and look at the cold, harsh facts, I think it was a good contribution from Scott. Don't get me wrong, but I still think he's one of the players that needs to go. And for the rest of the season, I'll just use him as an impact sub, like maybe like an advanced state or even a 10 who can play in behind Højlund. Then you have 2 strong players. You see, what changed the game for us was having Maguire and McTominay especially in there, because Brentford are very good aerially and you needed those 2 to sort of combat them. You're not going to need that every game. A lot of teams play differently. But for example, against Copenhagen away at Denmark, if you're losing, 1-0 at 75 minutes, then you would definitely bring him on, or even if you're drawing the game, to see if you can grab a winner out of nothing.
Yeah, absolutely. Finally, do you think it is the spark of something for Ten Hag this season? Is this, I mean, you've got to start somewhere, right? Is this the beginning of hopefully going on a bit of a run?
Look, I want to be positive and say, yes, this is going to completely change our season, but I don't want to be too naive. There are big changes needed. I am happier that we're getting into the international break with 3 points and a bit of positivity, which allows Ten Hag to work on these things for a bit. And then when we go, look, I think somebody made the point that our rosy run of fixtures are over. Kind of true, but if we get 2 wins against Copenhagen and get a win against Sheffield, then we go into the game against Man City at Old Trafford with a bit of confidence. And as I said to you before, I think I said it during the Bayern Munich game, that we need to take 3 games at a time. We can't afford to look too long. We take 3 games, we win them 3, and then we go on to the other ones. I don't want to say it's the start of something, but it just might be. But we need to really pull up our socks, and Ten Hag needs to work really hard on these players and really figure out what the pattern of the play should be going forward. If that is the case, it's still salvageable, I'll say that.
Big up, Sean, for calling in. Excellent call. Still salvageable. It's different. It's tough, isn't it? I've asked that question a couple of times today. Is this the spark? And It's a lot of. I hope so. I hope so. I don't know. Was it entirely deserved today? But we'll take it. We'll take what we can get. Certainly. Let's go to another call. Let's go to Game Fanatic. Game Fanatic, how are you feeling after that late drama at Old Trafford?
Dude, that game is gonna keep me up to like for now because it's 4 a.m. here in Australia. Bloody, oh my god! At least I get to go home. I get to go to sleep. Go to sleep in the morning with that it's a win. But like honestly, like that game isn't satisfying. Like I said, I said this last time. Our wins are not good. Like, do you know we pretty much just got saved by the West Ham duo? Like
I know.
we were going to turn to West Ham. But at the same time, like I'm not as negative as like someone like Charles. Like I feel like what he's saying is too harsh. Like he's not like Casemiro messed up, and then Lindelof messed up, and then Onana messed up, and Onana's at fault heavily for the goal. But like he's like asking why is he slapping it? I know why he's slapping it. He's slapping it because like you don't want to just easily parry that out for a rebound. That's why he's trying to slap it. He's trying to do like the advanced stuff. But like like you gotta when you do that kind of thing, you have to make sure that you actually get it done.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. This is what I always say about international fans. Yeah, I say that, staying up through 4 a.m. in the morning, and to watch for, I mean, let's face it, for 90 minutes, shocking. Shocking. And I bet you must be looking at your watch going, really? Am I going to do this? But you get there at the end, you get that late win. Do you think it's a spark for us this season, or are there still massive concerns?
Honestly, I agree with Charles on this one that it's not a spark. Like, who did we get bailed out by? 2 players who normally don't start the game. 2 players we try to sell. Like, how do you consider that a spark? So now, like, I agree they should probably start next game, but like that's not the way forward. Like Erik ten Hag has made that clear that we are not gonna be like long term if he survives that long. That these players will not be part of his plans. And like I don't know, like I said this in the Discord, like it's not a good sign that like when Maguire is starting, he's the one that like I normally bash on all the time, and I have nothing but positive things to say for him this game.
Yeah, absolutely. The defense, there wasn't really anything wrong with the defense in the game, and that's a defense with Lindelof, Evans, and Maguire all playing. What do you think about Casemiro and Rashford and Bruno, these sort of big senior players that are coming in for criticism again? I mentioned 2 of them went off, Bruno stayed on. How do you think Ten Hag rectifies that? Does he take a couple of them out? Does he keep persisting with them like he's been doing thus far? How do you think he overcomes those senior players not really performing?
What he should do is be taking them out. Like everyone's saying that, but like what he will do is a different story. Casemiro is heavily at fault for the first goal. Like even though Lindelof's clearance should be better, Onana should be saying that. Like that started from a no pressure like situation. Like he just did a crap pass that like started off a counter attack. He tried to save it, which is what people are saying, but it's like he tried to save it and he failed. And then like at that point, everything is on you.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Rashford anonymous. Yeah. Bruno, honestly, like he's still like doing those bloody like he's always doing forward passes, but like he's giving the ball away more times than not. And I feel sorry for Holland again because you can see he's trying so hard for us, and like it's just not coming off for him.
No, it's not. And again, you mentioned Højlund. It's a good point, actually, because I don't think anyone's brought him up at the moment. Once again, it's a difficult job, surrounded by defenders, playing with his back to goal, trying to make things happen, but not a lot of service, not a lot of support. I mentioned Rashford. I mean, he came off early. He's coming off earlier and earlier and earlier. Do you think the next step is for him to be taken out? Do you think his spot in the team is at risk, considering Garnacho came on and positively, influenced the game?
Yeah, definitely. Like we've been saying, like he should have been taken out ages ago, but like I guess Erik ten Hag is trying to like give him the chances to see like, look, like I have to take you off, but like I will keep trying to like to stop the drama of Sancho because he's probably scared to like take him off due to what happened with Sancho.
Yeah,
and he's like, oh, I'll give you chances and I'll keep taking you off earlier and earlier, and then at some point he's just gonna be like, yeah, like look, you can't say I didn't like give you a chance. You can't say I've been treating you harshly. And yeah, like I don't know how he's going to ever take off Bruno. That's his captain. Like that's the problem. What does that say when you're taking off your captain?
Yeah, Yeah, when you're taken off your captain, it would have capped off some, again, big decisions in terms of substitutions. Take off Casemiro at halftime, take off Rashford after 60, and then to take off Bruno, as you mentioned, the captain. You know, you can tell clearly he's weighing up about, do I take, and it probably would benefit the team, but also how is this going to, you know, affect my influence? Or because these are all, you know, sort of his players, these big players that he's sort of put big pressure on. So yeah, they're big calls by Ten Hag, certainly big calls. But we head into the international break, 3 points. Hopefully it's a spark of something. Come back, Sheffield United. Are you expecting to build on this, or are we just going to have a more, it's away from home as well, actually, but are we going to have something to build on, do you think?
If you're saying expecting, yes, I am expecting us to build on it, but like it's such an uncertainty. Like we lost to Burnley. I know we didn't lose to Burnley, but like we're struggling against Burnley. We lost to Crystal Palace. No one in this league is going to give us an easy game. I don't think like Luton will give us an easy game at this point.
Yeah, that's true. Oh man, hey, look, but we'll take it. We'll take it, certainly. Big up, Game Fanatic, for calling in all the way from Australia. This is what I love about UV. It's a truly international, global fan base. It's unbelievable. This is what I always say too about international fans. I mentioned it earlier on. Staying up 4 o'clock in the morning, 4 a.m. to watch 90 minutes of shit, and then get like 3 or 4 minutes of amazingness at the end. But that's commitment every single week. Don't let people tell you if you're not from Manchester, so you can't support United. There are people staying up at all times to watch the club and support. Absolutely. Let's go to Eric 10 days, this is the name's getting longer and the name's evolving a lot actually as well. So now it's Eric 10 days or more of international break needed.
Owen, a great man called Andy Tate said on the Stratford paddock, second half of the season, we're going on a title charge.
Is that what you're saying?
No, not quite, but I think that people are underestimating momentum. And us being historically, obviously in the past 5 or 6 years, a confidence team. We are a confidence team. When things are going right, especially people like Rashford, and we want to talk about him later, but overall, our team is a confidence-based team. And you can imagine the elation that they had, that ego boost that they had coming from 1-0 down to win 2-1, like in extra time. So I think that people always, especially us football fans, and they like calling us E-fans, we underestimate vibes. Like vibes in football are very strong, and they can carry you really far, They can make you run that extra meter, that extra mile. They can make you do things that you are not capable of. So I think people underestimate that, man. We're going to go on a run, I believe.
Are we saying that we're purely vibes now, and we've got to make sure we have good vibes, that we win games? Is that what we're really saying?
We are vibes team. And you can see it from the comments that the players make, Owen. Bruno says that, look, as long as we win, it's just that we're not winning. So the players are not even fast. In fact, soccer players in general are not fast how they win a game. They're not like us who are like, oh, but we didn't play really nice, or we didn't move the ball. We won the game. I'm going back to my family happy because I won the game. And I hope we win the next one. In fact, they'd feel more confident that they're going to win the next one. They won the game. They got an international break. Injuries are coming back. Reguilon's going to come back. Mainu's gonna come back. For me, it's more confident.
I think momentum is a thing that does get overlooked, and that's why I do sort of say to people that might say today, it doesn't matter or whatever. No, look, winning the game, obviously one matters, but the way you win the game too, 2 late winners. That will hopefully, you would hope that will at least plant the seed in this team's mind that actually the game's never over. How often have we spoken about mentality with these players? How often have we spoken about they go 1-0 down, we're not coming back, we're not going to score. We scored 2 goals right at the death today. That's pretty good going for mentality. So maybe that's the spark we're talking about here. Maybe it's more mentality.
And it dispels the notion that people are not playing for Ten Hag. I was one of the people that said about McTominay after, I think it was the Burnley game? The Burnley game was horrible. And I thought, McTominay's clocked out. He's not being favored. He's even behind Amrabat now. He's clocked out. And he dispelled that notion today. I mean, the whole team in general. Even the commentator on the broadcast that I was watching, he was saying, look, United are showing effort. They're just not being penetrative enough. So that's one of the problems. So why I feel more confident, I'm not just confident like how some people who are Oli in were confident when Oli was in. Whenever he used to scrape a win, they would say, nah, let's back him. I think it's going to... I actually have something to back up my confidence. If you look at Ten Hag's quotes in his press conferences, and you cover a lot of them, you'll hear him always talk about automisms. And he always say that we're just not having enough connections between players, or the connections have been lost. So I think that injuries are more detrimental to Ten Hag than any other manager, because maybe for other managers, they're quite well off without having connections, strong connections between players. Now, we've fielded 5 different back fours since the season's begun. It's only been 8 games. We've fielded like 3 different midfield threes or whatever, and our attack's always been constantly changing. We haven't been able to bring these connections in. That's why Ten Hag doesn't rotate, because he's big on connections, optimism, stuff like that. So I think if he gets this international break, gets the players back, he'll get players back that know each other, know the way they move. That's why Onana's been resorting to long ball. If you look at the start of the season, even against Arsenal, one of the best pressing teams, Bayern, one of the best pressing teams, because we had Lisandro in and Dalot in and people like that, we were able to play out from the back more confidently because of those connections. But it hasn't been there because those players haven't been there. And Onana, don't get me started, but
Talk to me about Onana. I mean, go on. You said
balance.
That started. No, start.
We just need to balance, man. Like, he's not playing to his ability, because we've seen him keep 8 clean sheets in the Champions League. He's someone who is a good goalkeeper. In fact, he's even a good, I wouldn't say, he's an okay shot stopper. He's good. He looks awkward. I admit what Flex says about him, but this is not him. I don't know what he needs. It's a thing of his wrists or something. Maybe he needs those wrist machine things. I don't know what he needs to do. He needs to get his head in the game. Like, those things. He needs one of those boys, because look, that's inexcusable. And I think he was the most relieved man on the pitch when McTominay put that. He even came all the way to the corner flag. He was like, yo, thank God.
Yeah,
man. So Onana, just balance. Balance.
Balance.
Yeah, he's not. What did you say? Sorry.
Balance and work on his wrists as well. Apparently,
we need to be balanced with him, Owen. Like, he's not absolutely trash. He's not a world beater, but he's not absolutely trash.
Erik ten Hag said in the press conference, didn't he, that he said that he can be one of the best goalkeepers in the world. Do you agree with that sentiment?
He's hyping up his guy. I mean, managers do that. You have to hype up your boy. you saw Pep do that for Matheus Nunes, when Matheus Nunes was at Sporting. He said he's one of the best players in the world. Then they asked Pep about that recently, and he said I was just exaggerating. Managers do that. Like, you just have to hype up your boy, man. So I think he can be like a top 10 when he's playing at the peak of his powers. When we saw him play for Inter in the Champions League, that's where I saw him. He was amazing. I remember watching his semi-final against AC Milan. He was amazing. He made a high-pressure save in like added time. He's good, man. But Lindelof, guys, we have to talk about Lindelof. We have to have a conversation about Lindelof, and especially Casemiro. Casemiro has been under the radar. It's like Rashford has been taking all the pelters, and then Casemiro gets a pat on the head. I don't know why. You saw what happened, Owen. I've been talking about Casemiro, and we've been saying that he's a slow starter, whatever. There's a rule in football, and I'm sure it's even a rule amongst directors of football. Don't buy a player that Real Madrid wants to sell you. Don't buy a player that Bayern wants to sell you. There's something up there. Yeah. So you notice that our possession plays always break up once it reaches Casemiro because he wants to play that hero ball over the top. We can't have two hero ball guys. We can't have Bruno and Casemiro. Sub them off at halftime. I just read a quote now from United Report Samuel Lager saying that they asked him, why did you sub off Casemiro for Eriksen? He said, I needed more football. Case closed.
I saw that. Yeah.
Then I just said, it's over. So
Statement
I think
loading.
another thing.
He's going to be training with the reserves. There's going to be a statement on social media.
No, I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't go that far, but I agree with what you were saying, Owen, to the previous callers that Ten Hag has been smart with his man management here of progressively decreasing minutes, then saying, look, even you can see now, Casemiro, you have to be off. Even you can see Rashford, you have to go off. I've been giving you, I took you off 70, now it's 60, now it's 45, now you don't start.
Yeah. No, totally agree. Big up Eric, 10 days or more needed for the international break. I mean, the name's getting longer every single time. It's wild. But there you go, guys. That's the full-time view for you today. Apologies, there's still several callers we couldn't get to. We're getting more and more calls every single week, which is amazing. If you do want to jump in for a future episode of the full-time view, you can do so by joining the UV Members Club. Links in the video description below. It's also the pinned comment in the live chat. You get your badges, you get your emojis, you get your exclusive members-only content, such as UV Raws. New episodes coming soon. In addition to that as well, you get the opportunity to call in on the full-time view as well. Hope everyone has a good weekend. And we got there in the end. 3 points. We'll take it. Now into the international break and 2 weeks of hopefully not too much United drama. Reminder actually also as well before I go, you can watch all of the fan views as they get uploaded now from inside UVHQ. Obviously get fan views, player ratings from inside UVHQ. There's KG, Rich, was Steph and DJ there today. And obviously Flex will be chatting with all of the fans outside Old Trafford as well. Have a great Saturday and I'll speak to you again very soon. Peace.